The cinematic classic The Night of the Hunter, released in 1995, did not start out to be the well-known chilling film that it is today. In fact, the movie flopped at first due to its lack of proper tappings. Luckily, director George Lawton created an interesting twist on the common elements of narrative and the use of lighting at the time, eventually bringing the success to the movie. Charles Lawton was born in Yorkshire, England on July 1, 1899. In his early years, he attended the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts and excelled in his class. He ended up winning an Academy Award and a few other small awards for his diverse acting jobs. Though he was most known for his acting, Charles Lawton decided to break out and begin directing his own films. Perhaps his lack of directing experience is one of the reasons The Night of the Hunter wasn't an immediate success. According to Looking at Movies 4th edition, virtually every film narrative depends on two essential elements: a character pursuing a goal. Along with this comes the exposition, rising action, inciting incident, climax, falling action, and resolution. In The Night of the Hunter, the plot almost runs in a full circle, ending the way it began. Throughout the film, we are presented with the distinctive narrative element known as familiar image. Familiar image is any image that the director periodically repeats in a movie, with or without variations, to stabilize the narrative. One example is presented once at the beginning of the film and once near the end. Both of these are scenes where the dad and Mr. Powell get arrested. They both start out with the view from the police window driving up to the scene of the crime. Then it shows a shot of the cars parked with all the police standing outside moving towards the criminal. As they take the criminal down, the dad holds up the gun and Powell holds up a knife. At that moment, John touches his stomach in both scenes. This familiar image helps us understand as to why John tried to stop Powell from getting arrested, because it reminded him too much of his father. Another example of familiar image is the half-lit face of Harry Powell. Powell has love written on one hand and hate written on another. Though he claims that love always wins, he himself is full of hatred and evil. His devilish personality is portrayed through the shadows that are regularly seen throughout the film. We are constantly presented, especially at night, with one side of his face being lit and the other in a deep shadow. The effect of this lighting technique allows the viewer to see that Harry is not a man that he claims to be. It also foreshadows the fact that something terrible is going to happen. For instance, before he kills his wife, there's a shadow on the side of his face. Before he attempts to beat the children, there's a shadow on the side of his face. Before he tries to take the kids from the caretaker, there is a shadow on the side of his face. The brilliant use of narrative elements such as familiar image by Lawton and Cortez is also seen in the movie The Three Faces of Eve. Interestingly enough, Stanley Cortez was the brilliant mind behind the lighting of this movie. Just like the different characters were depicted as good and evil using lighting in The Night of the Hunter, the good and bad sides of Eve were depicted by lighting as well.